Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
And I'm back.
And today we're giving our first impressions of Perch, which is a game from Inside Up Games, who I think also published Earth, which is like one of the more popular games of the last few years. And when I saw this one, I was like, oh, that's a cute game, and it's coming from that company, and it looked like a decent production on Kickstarter. And I was like, I wonder how it plays. And I went in and looked, and it was kind of like a area majority kind of game where you're placing birds on top. Oh, well, not on top of each other necessarily. If they're the same color, you're putting them on top of each other. But trying to control these for different amounts of points each round, and just things like that. And it sounded like just a simple concept that just sounded fun to me because it wasn't just like, oh, you only get your own birds and you're just trying to. Yeah, the way you get them is you get a couple of yours every round, which I thought was good, and then you get 2 random ones, which I think is what made me really like the idea, because then you could be getting other people's and kind of adjust things as needed. So I was excited to back this one, because I'm like, that actually sounds like a really cool game. And yeah, then I was reading the rules, and it was kind of just that simple to learn anyway of a game, and it sounded like it was doing exactly what I was expecting, but I was a little bit worried about what you would think about it, and I was a little bit worried because we were playing at 2-player, and this is one that I kind of in my head had thought, this will be a good one for group, because I think it'll be relatively quick. Sometimes games, when you start getting into like the 4-player count, sometimes they become just really, really long,
right?
And I don't think this one would suffer from that. So it was more of, in my mind, it'd probably be good at those player counts, because then you got more people fighting for majorities.
All you really have to do is play a bird on your turn.
Right.
So
yeah, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
But then I was a little worried at what your thoughts were.
Yeah.
I guess as you were learning the game, what were your
Why
thoughts?
were you worried?
Because you're not always the biggest fan of area majority, but I thought this one, because of that, like being being shorter, being kind of a little bit luck based of like which ones you pull a little bit, and just a quicker one. You're not necessarily needing to be like, some of those require you to kind of be sneaky and plan like multiple moves in ahead, like to like take over something. This one, there can be a couple sneaky things, but it's usually pretty. I guess usually, as in our one gameplay of it, seemed pretty straightforward. Like kind of what you have an opportunity to control and stuff.
To adjust that round?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
So that's where I thought, well, maybe she would like that more than some, like, there's some that I don't think you'd like Ankh, for example. I don't think there would really be a chance you would like that one, whereas this, I just think it has, like, less of some of those things that I think make area control, like, really about planning far ahead, because I don't know that that's something you necessarily love in games, if you have to like plan 3-4 moves in advance to get something done.
It's usually a miracle if I can plan what I'm currently doing.
But I guess, what did you think? Did you still feel like, I don't love this kind of game?
Yeah, unfortunately I don't think we found one that's gonna make that mechanic better for me yet. I think this is closer. I think you're right. I think it was closer to being better than a lot of games of this type, with that mechanism are for me, that I just detest, basically. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I do think that pulling the birds out of the bag is interesting. It's interesting trying to figure out what to do with the birds, if they're yours or mine or the player.
Yeah, in a 2-player game, you play with another color, and you're putting those into the bag, so you could potentially pull that out.
Yeah, and then the little animals that you can get to kind of help adjust some things from there. It was okay. It wasn't heavy, but I just know, sitting at the table, I was just thinking, like, if I put my bird here, then he's going to do that. And then there's times when you would do something and I would be like, well, now I don't even know what to do because he's going to win all of these things. And there's nothing I can do to help myself. And then it's balancing, like, if I sacrifice this bird here, does it help me to put it here? And stuff like that, and then like getting to the fountain and getting them like stacked for points and stuff. I felt like it's just overall super cute, great production, but like just the gameplay of it just didn't hit for me. I wouldn't say it was awful or terrible or anything by that means. It's just not my style of game. So I'm sorry. Maybe with more players it would be better, but I really highly doubt it.
Yeah. I think I'll
hate it.
I think I'll like it even more with more players, but yeah, I could see you disliking it more with more because there's less control that way.
Yeah.
Even less control, but we'll see. Maybe that'll be too hectic. I don't know.
Deeply rooted in my control issues. I think.
But yeah, I think for me it delivered what I was expecting, and I really enjoyed it, and I am hoping to play it with kind of more players and see if I still get that feeling from it, or if all of a sudden that starts feeling like too hectic, like depending on what birds you draw and stuff. But
yeah.
I like the thought of that because then it's like, you know, maybe you're going to get the 2 of your color, and then maybe you got like 2 of, I don't know, some other player's color, or 2 separate ones, and you kind of have to think of which order do you want them in. And I felt like usually you wanted yours last, to place yours last to kind of have the most power. But it was kind of interesting thinking, okay, if I do this, then it kind of forces them to do something. So I like those style of games, and I thought this one lived up to that, and the production is great. You can check out our unboxing video of it. I should say I don't know if it's different when the retail version comes out, what this one had in it. I don't remember if there were major differences or not. So just know that if you do watch the unboxing video and like the production, I don't know if there will be differences or not. Maybe there won't. But yeah, I really liked the production on it, and I think the birds stacked well. And they even provide the little plastic things if you do get a really high stack, which is nice to give them a foundation. And yeah, I really liked this one, and yeah, I'm hoping to play this one some more. I hope this one becomes, unfortunately, I think if you don't like it, though, I don't know that it will, but I hope this could become one of those that I feel like we've had some where it's like a string of, when we get together, we play that, but get together as a bigger group, like It's a Wonderful World, Planet Unknown, Clax of Quedlinburg. I feel like it could be one of those just because it is like a simpler one that you can get to, but maybe not.
After my first impression, I'm like, oh god, I hope not, because I will not want to play. But that's not to say, oftentimes with me, maybe games don't always hit, and I find that after like 10 or more playthroughs, they kind of turn around, so maybe.
10 or more playthroughs.
No.
Oh boy.
But you would agree, though, that sometimes after a few more plays, I come around on a game, so
yeah, maybe.
We'll see. Maybe more players won't be as awful as I suppose it will.
We will have to see. I don't know.
No.
I honestly don't know. It could make it feel much more random. I don't know exactly how it'll feel. That's why I thought it did a very good job of implementing the 2-player system. But it did at times feel like once you kind of had control of something, it was hard to dethrone them. I don't think there was quite enough birds. I feel like they need to change the number maybe slightly somehow. But I don't know. I'm sure they tried it. I'm not saying they didn't test it or anything, and I don't even know for sure that would help anything, but it just seems like sometimes you could get stuck if you're playing this one mostly at 2 players. You could just get behind someone and just not be able to overtake them.
But I think too they did a good job by having like 3 that were 4 that were worth 5. So it's kind of like, well, you take 5, I'll take 5. You know, like there wasn't one of us
there were different tiles and stuff that you can move in. I don't know what they all the different ones did as well.
Yeah.
But,
so it wasn't like somebody could just automatically take a majority. I think it got a little more immediately anyway. I guess it got a little bit more interesting as we got more birds out there and started scoring like the second place or whatever for those ones, because then some of the second places were like worth 5 points versus
that's where
none. So.
I think that was the part that really excited me about this game, was the fact that you weren't always necessarily wanting the majority. Sometimes you want second place because it's more points.
Yeah.
But then this has got kind of a unique thing too, which I think people are going to either hate or like. If you tie, those tie players get nothing. So then all of a sudden, if the 2 people tied for the top, and then there was a person in third, by themselves, the third place would be the only one that would get anything. I think they'd still get the third place reward, but they'd be the only one that would get anything out of it, which is kind of an interesting thought.
Yeah.
So I liked it in this game in particular.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would love that in every game.
Yeah.
But I think because this one's simpler, I think that works.
Yeah, I thought that was a good mitigation in the 2-player, because then if I draw your bird and the third player bird, then like I could find a way to make it so that like I could tie it, and then like no one got anything. Like
right.
So that was probably a decent part about the mechanics in the 2-player game. So I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. I guess what would you come down with for a score?
Ooh.
I figure I'm going to have you say yours first,
Yeah,
so that ends on more of a positive.
I think at this point I would probably give it a BGG 5, which is mediocre, take it or leave it. So
yeah.
I feel like that's maybe a tish generous for how I feel about it, but I'm open to playing it again. It's not like I absolutely hate it. There's no redeeming qualities about it. It's not that at all. I mean, I think there are good. Yeah, I think exactly. It's short. It's cute. It's not super complicated. So I think there's a lot of redeeming things about it. It's just first foot off. It's not my style of game. So it's up against a lot.
Yeah, I'd probably give this one initial ranking of like a 7.5 to 7.75. Yeah,
I like 2 ratings off.
I liked it. I liked it. Did exactly what I thought it would do. So if you look into this one more, and it sounds like one that you'll like, I think you get. I felt like I got the experience that I was expecting. So I would say you can feel safe getting it if you do look into it and like the thought of it. But yeah, if you don't, I feel like this one's got that potential for confrontation. A little bit more interaction than some games have these days. So if you really don't like interaction, like potential negative interaction, probably not the game for you. I don't know that that's going to really change it. It's not like super negative, but I could see how it could upset people if you really don't like that. So I would say it does not get rid of that factor if that's something you don't like. But otherwise, I would recommend it. So it just depends on your taste. Sounds like if you don't like area control games, it might still not be the one for you, though.
I think it's closer than others, but I don't think it's that yet.
Yeah, maybe the theme would win them over, those birds.
That's
and sending
true.
them to the fountain.
I don't love birds, so that's
the fountain.
The other part of it, probably.
Wow. That's why you had like wingspan either.
No, when you said Perch, I honestly thought we were playing another fish game, because that was like the theme of the whole day. So I thought we were playing something based on the name of the fish, Perch. So then when it
Pearch.
Yeah, so then when you brought up birds, I was like, this is not fish.
This isn't fish. It's about something that's eating the fish.
My expectations were off from the start.
Yeah. That's fair.
It didn't matter at all. Fish, birds, same level of disinterest.
Wow. But at least you're well, I guess I don't know that for a fact. Are you more interested in birds and fish than you are in baseball?
Oh.
At the baseball highlights game.
That's a toughie. They're all about the same level of disinterest.
Oh. But yeah, like I said, check out our unboxing video. I'm assuming most of the quality will stay the same. I don't know how you could really change it and still get the same experience. I can't imagine
Maybe
it changed
some cardboard
too much.
instead of acrylic, or
yeah, but yeah, it probably. Yeah, because I think
the birds are gonna have to stay.
I think you're right, because I think I did get a cardboard version in here and the acrylics. I bet it's just the cardboard. So that'll be probably the one difference I can think of, because I'd assume the birds have to stay the same. So you can check that out. If you like the video, you can give us a thumbs up, subscribe for future content. But otherwise, we hope to see you on the next video. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.